Here's 3 reasons why I think Pinetree Hill might be the most underrated launch for 2023. Welcome back! As usual, we're gonna give you the answers straight up, no fluff, no clickbait. And if it still interests you, you could watch on to hear our honest feedback on the project details as well as the 3 things we like and don't quite like about Pinetree Hill as a whole. Reason number 1, we are perhaps entering one of the busiest launch windows we've seen in a while. With 6 launches being launched within 1 month of one another, including the mega launch Grand Diamond, and right after the launch of Reserve Residences, Pinetree Hill has flown nicely under the radar. Now, with so many launches to choose from and with buyers buying for investment wearing the investor hat, they tend to prioritize the launches that are closer to the MRT because they just compare them based on the paper kind of attributes. Now, that's great for those of you who like to think a little differently, think one step ahead. The reason why I'm saying this is because despite its distance from the MRT, I believe Pinetree Hill will do well. And that's because they share an eerie resemblance to another UOL project, also starting with a P, that has done well in recent years. Let's take a look. So the project in question is Principal Garden. Okay, where is it located at? It's located a 15 minutes walk away from Redhill MRT, as you can see, right, with a distance of 1.2 kilometers, right? So not near by any stretch of the imagination. Pinetree Hill is even further away, right? Slightly further away, right? 18 minutes walk, 1.3 km. So both are not near the MRT. Now let's take a look at the profitability of Principal Gardens. Principal Garden without the S. Okay, so now you do see a lot of 1 bedrooms being transacted. Of course, they have a pretty wide range of profitability all the way from 14k to 130k. But what's more impressive would be the larger units, a 3-bedder 800,000. 4.6% annualized. Okay, the 2-bedder is 416,000, also above 4% annualized, right? Notice the 3-bedders are the one that really yield very good profits, right? 839,000. So the 2-bedders 400,000 seem to be the norm. There are some outliers here and there, but it seems like 2-bedders 400,000, 3-bedders 700, closer to 800,000. Now that's pretty impressive numbers. And another reason why I say they share an eerie resemblance is because the look and feel of both projects are very similar. Let's take a look. So this is Pinetree Hill, the architect's rendering, and this is Principal Garden. Very similar, right? So I think UOL sort of learnt from their experience over at Principal Garden how well received this 80-20 split in terms of landscaping and building footprint was received by the public, and also seeing the results in the resale market. They have sort of replicated, they've basically replicated that almost copy and paste into Pinetree Hill. Now, why is that important, right? Why so far from MRT can still make so much money is because based on our experience when we have brought people, like guys, me and my team, when we brought people down to view Principal Gardens, most of them come out feeling wow, right? They really can visualize themselves staying there, because remember, when it goes into the resale market, we are selling based on emotions. We are not selling based on the paper attributes. Now that brings me nicely on to point number 2. So despite their similarities, there's one thing that Pinetree Hill has that Principal Garden doesn't have, and that is Henry Park Primary. So for those of you who follow the channel, you'll know how much emphasis we pay into whether or not an area has strong organic demand, because that basically ensures that you always have somebody looking to buy houses in that area. And the Mount Sinai area ticks all that boxes because of all the old money within the area, in the Holland area, the Old Holland area, and also Henry Park Primary, constantly attracting people to come and buy in that area. And lastly, point number 3. Now that we've talked about demand, let's take a look at supply. The Mount Sinai area has a very interesting supply dynamics. Number 1, because of the fact that there hasn't been any new launches in the area for the last 13 years, the supply there is primarily made up of old 99-year developments or slightly newer freehold developments. But all of them are built in a pretty big size. Now that plays very nicely for those of you who follow us into our favorite investment thesis of 2023, the old versus new supply rhetoric. Now, what that means is that you're gonna be the first guy in that area to offer a better product with better layouts, no bay windows, more bedrooms for similar quantums as that in the resale market. And we've seen examples of this do really well in the RCR and in areas of strong organic demand. Case in point, seaside residences. Now, we're going to dive into greater detail, sharing with you guys data, research, analysis specific to Pinetree Hill later on in the video. So in conclusion, we feel Pinetree Hill is gonna be principal garden on steroids because of Henry Park Primary, and is gonna be the seaside residences of the West. Now let's dive into the project details proper. We're gonna start off first with the location, so from the big to the small. Right. Looking at the location, the good and the not so good, okay? Let's start off first with the good, right? Of course, the most standout feature would be its 1 km proximity to Henry Park Primary, as you can see over here. Now, the interesting thing here is that Pinetree is plot A. So there's going to be a Pine Grove plot B that's going to be right beside Pinetree Hill, okay? And based on what I see over here, of course, not confirmed because it seems like 1 km can stretch all the way until here, and I can't really tell the land plot. And also because this is out of 1 km, there may be a chance that the plot B, right, maybe half of the development is within the 1 km. Right, there's going to be great news for Pinetree Hill because likelihood is the next plot that will be launched there will be sold at a higher price, but yet without the 1 km proximity to Henry Park. And now, since that we are on this topic, right, you also want to take a look at, you know, what are the alternatives and competition that you might face when selling the property to somebody that wants to come into the area to buy within 1 km of Henry Park. And actually for that, we have consolidated all of that into a research sheet, like how we always do it over here, right? We're going to dive into this in greater detail later on, right? But, you know, just a quick one, we take a look over here. So you're going to notice that there's actually a lot, right, over at Ewart Park area to the northern side. Really is mainly landed. Ewart Park is a GCB area, as a matter of fact. Then we got the Old Holland, the Mintek, 6th Avenue, again Queen Astrid Park, all the GCB area, okay? Not many condos. As you come downwards to the Ghim area, then that's mostly HDBs over here, HDBs right to the south of Dover MRT really will be HDB. So this is going to be this whole stretch, we will see a new HDB development coming up, right? So condos, no direct condos lah as competition. The main bulk of the competition are already what we see here in the Mount Sinai area. Okay, now moving on to the location, probably the not so good parts about it. Okay, the first thing, of course, as with everyone, you will say it's the pretty obvious one is its distance to the MRT lah, right? An 18-minute walk, right? Good thing is that they're going to provide a shuttle bus. Okay, so now that's a good thing. But if you want to buy groceries, the problem is that I believe the nearest one would be Cold Storage Jelita lah. They may have some small mama shop, right, like Pine Mart in the vicinity, but now a bigger one, you probably have to go to Jelita lah. But yet, right, despite its somewhat inconvenient location, but it's basically what you get in the Bukit Timah area lah, because the people there are rich and they drive. So despite this sort of somewhat inconvenient location that has never seemed to have affected the profitability in the area. Later on in our spreadsheet, we will share that more with you. And so if you'd like to take a look at this spreadsheet, feel free to drop us a text. Again, right, happy to send it and share it with you. Okay, then the next thing, the next not so good thing about the location is that later on, when I show you guys the brief that we've been given by the architects and developers, they really sell this Clementi Forest thing a lot. I show you based on the satellite view. So to the north of Pinetree, we see a lot of greenery as this, like that. Okay, but once you click on the master plan, you're going to realize that that greenery may not be there to stay for long. As with everything over in the Dover area, right, a lot of us are familiar with the Dover area as this place with a lot of greenery. So the Dover Forest is gone, a big hoo-ha that time, but you know what, it's gonna go already. And next up, we would expect this area to go like as it is right now. It's the state is subject to detailed planning, okay, but this color is for residential. So the thing that you probably need to pay attention to is that don't expect this greenery thing, especially if you buy the north facing units. Do not expect that greenery to stay there forever. Okay. Next up would be let's take a look at the project itself. Okay. So from the whole look of the entire project, of course, it's been designed by P&T architects. I quite like them. Reason being, they design Park Esta, yay. And another thing that you notice, when you scroll down their portfolio, number one is very, very established architects in Singapore. But another thing that I noticed is they execute this kind of high-rise developments on big plots of land quite well. Case in point, Twin View. Case in point, Sterling Residences. It so happened they also design seaside residences, so hopefully there's a bit of a lucky touch to whatever they touch. Okay, Park Clementis, right? So Twin View, Sterling, Park Clementis, most of them are low density developments, high rise, built on big open plots. So this is not the first time they are executing a project on this kind of brief. Okay, so we know that they're gonna do a decent job. All right. And so as I scroll down, the first thing I see really is a very nice drop-off point. For those of you who do follow us, you know that we put quite a fair bit of emphasis on this. Okay, we give it good plus points whenever we see a grand drop-off point. The reason being that is very much the first impression that someone gets when they enter the place. So we talked about how Principal Garden have done well in terms of its profitability, and that's because every time when I drive clients over there, and once they arrive, they'll be like, wow, this place not bad. So but if the impression is not as nice as what they have over there, the minute they reach there, because the first thing on the drive there, they'll be like, wow, it's a bit far from MRT. And then if the first impression not so nice, they'll be like, you know what, let's think about it. But yes, they complain the distance from the MRT, but once they reach, they'll be like, wow, and then the emotions start to take over, and that's where sometimes they don't really bother about the distance to the MRT that much anymore, because genuinely, people want to stay in a place that they're happy, okay, and they can sort of, if the place is nice enough, they can overcome the distance and the inconvenience. Humans are creatures of comfort, and I think most UOL has done a really, really good job to brief the architects to do it. We have this super long waterfall. I believe it's going to look very, very grand when you drop off. Okay, there's these small pots that they really sell a lot but actually to me it's just 3 pots over there. It's nice, but you know, it's not going to be the real unique thing. Okay, I mean, developers, UOL, they don't disappoint lah in terms of their facilities and amenities. So I'm not overly concerned about that. We're gonna have a 50-meter lap pool, thankfully. Right, so a huge area over here, huge open space. So more than 80% will be landscaping and open space. And then they're going to elevate the second floor up, right? I believe it's going to be equivalent to 6 or 7 stories. So what that gives you is that you don't have that cluttered feel while walking on the ground, because there's no units that look in. Everybody is just so high up. So it really helps with the breeze, and it really helps with making the place feel so much bigger. So huge fan of that. Primarily the units are north-south facing, and they have angled that quite well to minimize the overlap of the blocks. So you notice only maybe this one, but this one and this one, the block-to-block distance also very good. See, over 80 meters, so there's no way you're gonna see that. The other fella, the closest is probably this side lah. There's 41 meters, which is still very, very good. Right, a good distance away, separated by the main lap pool. So it's going to be very far away lah, basically. Okay. Another thing that they did highlight to us is that the entire plot, if you drive down Ulu Pandan Road, you notice that this pine grove plot is seated on top of a hill. So you're going to be elevated, right? Because the second floor is equivalent to 6th floor. You're going to be elevated on top of an elevated ground, so you're going to be pretty high. So on that note, actually, you buy low floor, I believe is good enough. You don't really have to buy high floor. Of course, if you really like the view and whatnot, you can go for the high floor. But for investors, low floor is perfectly okay. Okay. I think I'm going to skip past the landscape concepts and all those kind of things, because those are pretty fluff right? All the facilities you have, you're gonna have, and I trust UOL to pull it, UOL and PNT to pull that off pretty well, and you're gonna see it for yourself when you go to the show flat. What I want to bring our attention to would be here. Okay, the more important parts. So 520 units, decent size, right? Especially in that area. Of course, you have that huge Pandan Valley, but most of them are not. They don't cross the 500 over units size. So once you cross 500 units, you can consider yourself a large development. Of course, you need to cross 1,000 units to be considered mega, but it's still considered a large development. Expected TOP. 2027, okay? So 4 years lah, about slightly over 4 years. And this is where it's I want to bring your attention to, because it's very, very interesting, and it's on the unit type split that I really spot gaps. If you want to buy into Pinetree Hill and where you can maximize your profits. So hear me out, okay? 1+ study, only 22 units, okay? The 2-bedroom, 45 units, and so on and so forth. But what I want you to pay attention to really would be the difference in terms of the sizing. Right? Generally, they are a little bit on the larger side if you compare to the developments over in District 15. All of them are slightly bigger, which I think was something quite smart of UOL to do, because they know there's a very big gap between, regardless if they build slightly bigger and also the existing supply in the area, they can afford to go a bit bigger, so that they don't have to deal with complaints like, oh, the unit is so small, because they know their target audience quite well. See, experienced developers, they are sharp, they know what they are doing, they know that they have to build stuff with an audience in the correct area. Okay, and so 700 square feet for 2 bed 1 bath is big, right? Don't bother about the sizes or the back ones, those are for the double volume spaces. So 700 square feet for 2 bed 1 bath. 2 bed 2 bath 2 premium 764. So my thing, what I notice is that this size and this size is very close to one another. So if you can afford, right, try to go towards the 797, the 2 premium plus study, and also because there's lesser supply of that than the 2-bedroom premium, so easier for you to sell in the future. The price gap is very, very low, especially on launch day. If the 2-bedroom premium gets bought up into pretty high floor, I will expect that the lower floor units will be snapped up first. Increasingly, we are noticing people buying from top down, especially because a lot of people, they can't afford to buy, the developments start to buy from top down nowadays. But for this, because it's already elevated, I think people will just buy the lower floor upwards. That's my prediction. Okay, 3-bedroom, 969 square feet. So this 3 compact, I really like it. Only 68 units, 969, very good, lying with a very comfortable gap in between the smaller one and also the bigger 3-bedroom premium. Okay, so 3-bedroom, quite nice, quite a fan. Right, later on I will talk about the layouts. The 3 premium plus study, this is where the gap between the 3 premium plus study and the 4-bedroom deluxe is very small. Right, 1216 versus 1292, so the actual price difference may not be that big again, especially once you go high level versus low level. End up if they cost the same, please then just get the bigger unit, lower floor, especially in a development like that has elevated low floor units. Okay, of course this gap and this gap will be quite a bit bigger already, like 1464 and then 1700. So all this people buy because they can. Okay, and the layouts, I will talk about them later on. Branded finishing as expected. So this will be the view that they're really trying to sell you, but pay attention that this may not be permanent. Okay, will not be permanent. Alright. So as a matter of fact, the south-facing units may be better, but just do note that this green plot over here will be cleared away, the Dover Forest beside the MRT, and we're gonna see high-rise HDBs being built there. So this part of green also no more already, yeah. So maybe if the inward facing, they don't price it so high, inward facing quite a bit safer, right? Some of the renderings that we see over here, I believe once it's completed, it's gonna feel really, really nice. Okay, lots of greenery. Just look at this distance. This is what the expanse of space can give you. And P&T, I also noticed they have done quite a fair bit of mega developments, and most of the developments, if we look at the portfolio, and for those of you who have visited them, Park Esta, I was looking at Park Botania, was also done by them. Park Esta, Park Botania, all this already completed, so you actually can go there and see, right? Twin View as well, they all feel very spacious, right? They all feel like once you go in, you generally feel that the place is very, very spacious. So I think P&T really can pull that off very, very well. Right, 50-meter lap pool, good block-to-block distance, and so I believe this is really how you feel. Because sometimes the developers they only give you the rendering of their own development. If to the side got other building they won't draw it, and then when you actually collect key over there, then you realize got other building. But for this view, I believe beside maybe Pandan Valley that is a bit lower, and so you're gonna get this very nice stand at the pool open sky view, very, very impressive. Pretty similar to what we have in Park Esta, similar to what we have in Twin View, Sterling as well, and also Park Botania. Let's first start off with the smallest unit type, the 1 plus study. So we're only going to have one stack of the 1 plus study, and it will be facing Pine Grove. Okay, not surprising considering most of the inward facing units facing the pool tend to be considered a little more premium. And interestingly, also for Pinetree, the units that face Ulu Pandan, I think they are going to charge a premium because it overlooks Clementi Forest. Okay. Now, diving into the layouts, I'm going to point out to you some of the things that I do like and some of the things that perhaps I don't quite like. Okay, so what do I like? Number one, if we take a look from the entrance, pretty normal open concept kitchen, kitchenette by the side, very, very normal. The study is situated over here, which to me I feel is a little bit odd. Number one, I would have hoped is obviously a little bit longer to allow you to put a single bed, but based off what I see over here, I highly doubt that it is sufficiently long enough. So for all intents and purposes, it will function more like a storeroom, right? Where do I think the likely study area can be or will be would be where the dining area is. Now bear in mind, 538 square feet is not small, okay? A lot of the other 1+ studies or 1-bedders are less than 500 square feet, right? 400 over square feet. So 538 is not small. And the size, I feel, went to the living and dining area. Now this is a pretty decent size living and dining area. So I do like the size of this. You see how tiny this dining area is over here. A lot of the 1-bedders, it will be this size. So based on the illustration, you can put in a larger dining table up to a 4-seater, or if you are work from home, right, a huge study table, and still got space for a dining table. But a lot of the times they actually put the dining table outside in the balcony lah. Now when we move to the balcony, you have this long wall over here, which is great, right? Why? Because this long wall, if you see how unit 3 is orientated, so stack 4 juts out, okay? So this is the stack 4 balcony, right? Stack 3 is tucked a little bit inside, but with that long wall jutting out, that actually gives you good privacy in the balcony. So I can visualize once you step into the balcony that you really can't see the other units to your left and right, which is quite a good thing, yeah? Of course, when we come into the bedrooms, the fact that this is a PPVC project, right, prefabricated project, you cannot hack this wall. So that's something that you have to live with. You do not have the flexibility of opening this up, you know, if you wish. Other than that, the master bedroom toilet is pretty standard to me, right? It's Jack and Jill on this end. Next up, the 2-bed, 1-bath. So for the 2-bed, 1-bath, we're gonna have 2 stacks, one stack 15 facing Ulu Pandan Road, and stack 6. What's interesting to go and see the results of launch day would be how would they be pricing the differential between these 2 stacks. Had it been any other launch, I believe they would have priced stack 6 higher than stack 15 lah. But for Pinetree, because they keep emphasizing the greenery view beyond Ulu Pandan Road, I got a gut feeling they may price stack 15 higher. And if that's the case, I would urge any one of you that's watching this video looking at the 2-bed 1-bath to go for stack 6 instead. If it's priced the same, I would also go for stack 6 because there's more assurance. You get sort of the pool view. You can go for a lower floor, internal facing, and you'll be pretty safe versus a low floor stack 15. You don't really get the greenery, and then you still have to deal with the road noise. All right, now let's jump into the floor plan. Okay, again, some of the things I like and don't quite like. First of all, 700 square feet for a 2-bed 1-bath, it's a good size. It's quite big, okay? But with it being big, it also means quantums are big. Now, if this layout were to be in any other project, I would have voiced my concern being the ability to resell in the future. But for Pinetree, because there's no real like-for-like competition like that in the area, which is something that we will talk about later on in the video, it is actually still quite okay to choose, right? But if budget allows, I would recommend you get the 2-bed 2-bath instead, and I will share that reason later on, okay? Now for the layouts, of course, 700 square feet for a 2-bed 1-bath gives you plenty of space. You do get a enclosed, right? You do get a fully enclosed kitchen, right? Of course, I don't think there's a door over here, but you could very easily install a sliding door. Of course, it's not going to be naturally ventilated, but that is something that is very, very normal. What what I do see being quite interesting would be this designated study area tucked away in this corner over here. Which I think if somebody is buying this unit for own stay, they may just, you know, do up this whole place as a storage area because the DB is already there. I believe here is going to be glass, which is nice because as you step in, you can see a good expanse, right? A good amount of the house is something I always emphasize on. First impressions really matter. This wall here can be hacked, right? So for those buying for own stay, you can hack this, turn this into a nice island, and think that would be quite impressive. So we do have a really good sized living and dining area. I think that is one thing in common that you will notice in Pinetree. They have very, very good sized living and dining areas. So yeah, dumbbell layout, so you have very, very little wasted space in terms of corridor. Okay, the master bedroom, pretty standard. Master bath, again, pretty standard. Do note that because this side is the aircon ledge, this will likely be a half height window. If not, even if it's full height, they tend to frost the bottom half of this window, right? Good size bedroom, you can fit in a queen size bed with a side table. This one you'll most likely have a full height balcony, decent size. Okay, one thing to note, I do like the long wall over here. It's a pet peeve of mine. A lot of the times dumbbell layouts, right, the walls on both ends and this one later on when I scroll down you will notice. Okay, maybe let me do it now. Notice how some of the dumbbell layouts, right, both the walls are a bit short, and if they are short then you are limited by the kind of sofa that you can put inside. Your sofa will have to be quite small, 2-seater max. When you have a longer wall like that, you can then have a slightly bigger sofa. If you are buying it for investments, it wouldn't really bother you, but yet again, if you want to maximize your profit, you'll be looking to sell to somebody that's buying for own stay, and if the person is sharp, they may comment that the wall is a little bit small for us to put in a nice big sofa. So you're not going to get that problem over here. We have a good size wall, right? And definitely the TV goes onto this side. My favorite part really would be number one, the enclosed kitchen, the ability to hack this wall and turn, and once you hack this wall visually, once you step in, the expanse, the length that you can see, if you can see over here, right, I think it will be close to 10 meters in length. Of course, I'm just estimating which really will help make the house look really, really big. Moving on to the 2-bedroom premium, the 2-bed, 2-baths. So the 2-bedroom premium, we have quite a fair number of different sizes and different kind of layouts, and we have a lot more of them than the 2-bed, 1-bath. Okay, so now we start off first with the 764 square feet 2-bed, 2-bath. We're gonna have 2 stacks of this, both of which are inward facing, but most probably stack 11 will be more premium than stack 19, considering stack premium overlooks the pool. Okay, and so first things first, at 764 square feet, what you'll notice is it comes pretty close in terms of size to the 2-bed, 1-bath. Alright, of course, if you are budget conscious, okay, you can go for the 2-bed, 1-bath. But if, let's say, during launch day, the 2-bed, 1-bath gets snapped up a lot, and then you are left with the slightly higher floor units, then do pay attention to the actual price premium that you can top up to jump to the next available 2-bed room premium unit. If that gap narrows, of course 64 square feet sounds little, but at let's say 2,300 PSF is still 150 over $1,000. But if that gap narrows down to let's say less than $100,000, I would recommend seriously thinking about it and making that jump up, right? If you pay less than $100,000 for an extra bathroom, yes, it sounds a little bit expensive, but if you really do break it down, if the top-up difference in terms of your down payment is like in the end like 20 over 1,000 difference, much better. Okay, So just something to take note of, right? Which is why you always, when you go for balloting, have a good gauge of like, you know, don't be overly focused on I'm just going to buy this particular unit type, then you end up buying up even regardless of the height level, right? Do pay attention to what's the next better alternative, upwards and downwards as well. All right. Okay. So now diving into the layout, some of the things I like and don't like. Lots to like about this layout, not much complaints. The reason why, of course, stepping in, not much wasted space. Over here, yes, you might say this particular area is a bit wasteful, but if you feel that that's the case, may I suggest one thing, okay? You can potentially hack this wall. I think you can potentially hack this wall and then you fully open up the whole space. And if you fully open up this space, it feels huge. And I think this is a very, very smart touch by UOL to do because this area, I believe, moving forward will be very, very much an area for own stay occupiers, okay? If you just look at this scale and even without hacking this wall, you just look at this scale, the length of the living and dining add together, I believe it will be close to like at least 6, if not closer to 8 meters. But once if you do hack this one and open up fully, I'm not quite sure whether they'll put glass over here, but if they do, great touch. Once you step in, you can see that very, very good length of the house. So it will feel big. I mean, it is reasonably big for a 2-bedroom, two bed, 2 bath. But how they have laid it out, very, very nice. Because how many launches or how many layouts you see the developer drawing the study table for you for a 2-bed, 2 bath. They actually did it. Of course, if you don't need it, what I like is this very long L-shaped wall. Now, a long wall like that gives you plenty of options. You can have storage if you want. Of course, I don't think this layout is big enough for you to carve out an extra room. The other layouts, they potentially can, which is very, very interesting. But, you know, lots to like about the good sized living and dining area. Nice uninterrupted L-shaped wall over here, also a very nice touch. No complaints about the bedrooms. Okay, bedroom 2 is also Jack and Jill. Master bedroom is of course the master bedroom toilet is just accessible to the master bedroom. Balcony not too big, not too small. Alright, if we scroll down, okay, so this layout is the most popular one with 2 stacks, right? The rest of the layouts that I'm going to share with you only have 1 stack. Alright, so this one, while it looks from the naked eye like a mirror image of this one, there are some very subtle differences. First things first, you will notice, like I talked about earlier in for the earlier layout, right, the 2-bed 1 bath, the length of the wall. So this layout, the length of the wall is a bit longer. Good, right? You can put larger sofa. This wall, a bit short, right? So I think you can only put in a 2-seater sofa. So that is the one complaint I have for this one. Okay, if not, again, right, we're going to have that nice L-shaped wall, enclosed kitchen, very, very good. I believe they should, I'm not sure if they will offer you the sliding door, but if they never draw in, because if they do offer, they will draw it in like this one. Very, very easy for you to install it. If you want, I believe this wall can be hacked again, then giving you a very, very good space. But if you ask me, I would still prefer this one. Okay, I would prefer this one because this space, this little space over here, this one I feel is smaller than this space over here, because this kink, like, you know, notice this space feels a bit bigger than the earlier one, and I don't think you can do much with this area lah. Then also with the length of the wall. Okay, same size, another layout, right? 2BP3, same size again. So now this one, this will be an inward facing stack. Step in. So this one don't really have the kink, don't have this kink that we have over here. I do actually like this better. Let me explain why. Because now that this has kinked in like that, if you really want, I believe you can create a small wall over here and then create a full bedroom here. So make the most of this little kink. So now this is a 2-bed, 2-bath plus study, but can potentially be turned into a 3-bedder. Downside, the size of the length of the wall over here lah. Okay, same thing, can only put in a 2-seater sofa, right? But I do like this one. This one gives you the flexibility of potentially creating another bedroom, less wasted space in terms of the kink. You step in, you can see the full length of the house. So out of the 3, I do like this one better. And now for the last 2-bedroom premium, okay, 775 square feet. So this one, again, 1 stack. So this faces Ulu Pandan Road, so overlooking Clementi Forest, but it's a bit set back from Ulu Pandan Road. So probably more premium than the stacks over here because of the amount of setback. Do also notice that this facing, there's only 3 units, but this one there's 4 and 4. Okay, now let's take a look at the layout. My one pet peeve would be that 775 square feet brings you very close to the 2+ study that is 797 square feet. So it's only 20, right? 20 something square feet difference. So, you know, watch the gap. How we say watch the gap. If the gap is too close, right, maybe jump into the 2+ study. The reason being, if you look at this layout, so this is perhaps a more regular layout. Come in, kitchen on the left, very good size kitchen. This is a much bigger kitchen than quite a fair bit. You can notice kitchen than the other kitchens provided. Okay, regular dining and living area. So this living area definitely is bigger. Like you have this huge wall, so you can have as big a sofa as you want. No concerns about size of sofa as compared to the other 3. Of course, then you have the walkway and the 2 bedrooms that is very regular, so nothing much to talk about that. But do notice this one, the size I gave sort of got eaten away by this walkway over here, by your corridors over here, and the larger size kitchen. We do not have the study tables being drawn inside. So I honestly feel this layout maybe, you know, wouldn't be my top choice lah, right? I either go smaller, right? This one my favorite one, or you try to jump to the 2+ study. Moving on to the 2+ study. Okay, so if you notice the 2+ study coming in at 797 square feet. Number 1, it's a really good size. Number 2, the size is just a little bit bigger than the 2-bed, 2-bath. So if you are looking at the 2-bed, 2-bath, I really would recommend that you try to stretch your budget a little bit to get the 2+ study. Okay, and also because the 2+ study layouts I like a lot. Let me explain why. Okay, so 797 square feet, we have 2 different types. Okay, I'm going to weigh out the pros and cons. They both have their individual pros and cons, and I'm going to share with you the pros and cons of each of them. Okay, how I see it. So 2 stacks, both are facing away from Ulu Pandan Road, so they are the quieter facing, but quite obviously stack 10 will be a much more premium stack than stack 2, considering this is inward facing and pool facing. Okay, this will be facing downwards towards Astor Green, I believe. Okay, so let's start off first with this one. So as you step in, the kitchen is nicely tucked away in the corner. Okay, the good thing is that of course it's enclosed. The bad thing is that you cannot hack any of the walls because it's already set in stone. For the other one, you can choose to hack the wall and open it up. Okay, so as you step in, you have a kink over here to allow you to have the study area. I've measured, you can convert this into a room and put in a bed proper. Okay, so that's great. Okay, you can even upsize the room by stretching it all the way out over here. That's the beauty of this layout. The downside really would be this awkward positioning of the dining area seems to me like it's like sort of in the middle, in like no man's land. Of course, I think practicality wise, most people will just tuck it over here lah, once they actually do get the unit, use this area as a store or somewhat. Okay. Bedrooms are pretty standard in size. I do think the master bedroom is a good size with quite a fair amount of walking space to the left and right. Okay, again, right, talking about walls, right, we talk about walls a lot in this video, but good size wall so that you can have good size sofa. All right, now we come down to the other layout. So for the other layout, just one stack. Okay, and this would be facing again as Store Green and Pine Grove. So for this one, this layout, okay, as you step in, so this layout, I feel the entrance vibe will be better. Of course, kind of depending if they put glass over here or not, right? But if you, let's say, you hack this wall, right? This one, as you step in visually, you can see this huge area will make it look big. Whereas the other layout, right, you step in, it may feel a little bit dark. Okay, it's because first of all, the light can only come in through here because the window is from very, very far away. The light can only come in through here, so it may feel a bit dark. You may have to on the lights. But this one, you'll feel a little bit brighter, because especially once, if there is a glass, if not, if you hack or what, right, if it will feel brighter the minute you step in. Kitchen size wise, based on the look of it, they look both very similar. Good size kitchen. So once we step in this study area, also I've measured, can put in a bed, so you can convert this into a room, right? But this one, the room will be just this size as compared to the previous one that you can upsize the room. You can stretch it all the way until here for a bigger size room, right? But this one, the room will be a little bit smaller, just fixed like that already, because the 3 side walls are already fixed. But for dining, not so awkward already. We have an L-shaped wall over here, so you can have your dining over here. But again, right, those that you like island concept can hack this wall, change this into a nice big island. If you don't need this, then you turn this into your dining area or you have this huge area. Again, the length is fantastic. I'm going to measure it right now. This is about 4 inches, 4 inches, 5. Yeah, it's more than 5, closer to 6, probably 7 meters in length. Something that is very, very rare for 2+ study layouts. Of course, the downside would be the wall. So this wall not as big. Most likely maximum, this is a 2-seater sofa. Maximum you're going to put in a small 3-seater sofa, as compared to this wall that is a little bit longer. Alright. So, like I said, right, pros and cons of both layouts. Both I do quite like, because the study you can create an extra bedroom. But perhaps my favorite of all really would be the 2-bed, 2-bath that has that little kink that can potentially create extra room. And now moving on to the 3-bedders. We start off first with the 3 compact. Okay, so the 3 compacts, 969 square feet, and I personally, in terms of capital appreciation potential, have the highest conviction with the 3 compact units. Why? It's because they land very nicely in terms of quantums compared to, you know, the 2+ studies and also the slightly larger 3+ study. There is going to be 1,200 square feet and up, right? So that's going to land us 2.6, 2.7, 2.8 mil. At 969 square feet, you know, we're going to come just nice above 2 mil, which I feel gives it a lot of room to grow, right? And you know, we're going to dive into that later on in the video. Now let's take a look at the layouts and the facing. So the 3 compacts, the good thing is that they are all going to be corner units, right? Stack 20 and 12. Okay, so I believe 12 will definitely be the more premium one, considering that it will be facing the pool, and stack 20 will not face the pool. Okay, do note that there's gonna be a little bit of west sun that comes into the side of the unit. So some of the things I like and perhaps don't quite like, okay? I start off first with, I think, probably the most obvious one of them all, the long, slightly awkward walkway over here. Now, I'm not terribly against entrance walkways, you know. My own unit at Park Astor has an entrance walkway, but if it's angled in a way that is, you know, of a sufficient size for you to put in a shoe cabinet, put in a nice entrance console with a nice mirror, nice flower over there, it can act as sort of a very nice little entrance foyer, nice little experience when you step into the house, okay? But with this little odd angle and the short wall over here, I don't think you can get that, okay? I would much rather have it been longer in this way, okay? But you know what? It's not like, you know, because of this, the size has gone crazily big. Alright, they still managed to squeeze it under 1,000 square feet, keeping quantums affordable, which is a good touch. Kitchen, decent size, naturally ventilated, good size. Window over here, I believe a window of this size should be double panel, right? That's good. As you step in, the dining area, living area, not the biggest, but I think sufficient, right? As we step in, no comments about the bedrooms, pretty standard queen size bed. The toilets are going to be naturally ventilated, which is good, right? You don't see them, you don't see all of them, especially 3 complex, being naturally ventilated in kitchen and also in the toilets, which is a nice touch. I do like the master bedroom size and layout. Why? Because the toilet door comes in at the front here, and what that gives you is a very nice rectangle over here for a lot of configurations as you might wish. There's also going to be a window over here, which is also nice because then you catch ventilation from north, south, and also from this direction. It helps bring in a little bit of natural light as well. They can't make this window too big because that actually faces the west. Okay, but I do like the fact that the toilet door is not here and tucked further away, so that if you want, you can extend your cupboard, right? If not, then at least you get full 3 walls that you can decide what you want to do with, right? The other layout also 969 square feet. Okay, for this one, just 1 stack, and it will be facing Pine Grove and Astor Green. So as we step in for this one, it's better in this sense because we don't have that odd entrance walkway, long odd entrance walkway. Kitchen, I believe both of them are about the same size. Okay, nice likely double panel ventilation windows as you step in. Dining area, living area would be the same. Now, question would be, where would the extra size come to? I believe it will go towards the living and dining area. If you see over here, it feels that this gap is a little wider than the one over here lah. Okay. Bedrooms, I believe, would be the same thing for the master. With the toilet tucked on this side, you get much more length of walls to play with lah. So in terms of the layout, this one may be a little bit better because of the lack of a entrance walkway wastage area, but in terms of facing, this one would be better because at least you can get the inward facing stack 12, right? Or even stack 20 will still be considered inward facing lah. Now moving on to the 3 Premium Plus study. Okay, so we're gonna have 4 stacks in total for the 3 Premium Plus study, right? All of them coming in at 1216 square feet. 3 stacks having this particular layout, right? And 1 stack having this layout. So personally, I would very much prefer this one, okay, for a couple of reasons. First reason being that this one has a more regular shape entrance walkway, right, straight in. Of course, some people don't like it because of the lack of privacy. For those who prioritize privacy a little more, they would prefer this kind where, you know, you can leave the door open and people can't see all the way through to your living and dining area. So this is the kind of entrance walkway. So if you recall, when I said earlier, when I talked about it earlier on one of the entrance walkways, this one, that I felt is a little bit awkward because it's a bit narrow. The turn is a bit narrow, so you can't really do much in terms of this area. Compared to this one, where it's a little bit longer, so at least you can have a nice, good length shoe cabinet if you want to, or a entrance foyer, a nice half-height console with, like, let's say a nice flower, a mirror of sorts, okay? The other thing, but here's the main thing why I would prefer this layout, is if you notice the study area. Okay, so I do like this layout. Of course, not a fan of, I very much would have preferred the living and dining to be in the more landscape style versus a portrait style like that, right? That would, of course, help bring in a lot more natural light. But that is very hard to achieve nowadays with the fact that the 3 premium units all require a household shelter to be located in them. The only way you're going to achieve that is if you locate the household shelter at the front, something if like that, if you throw the household shelter all the way over to this side lah. But in the absence of which, you most likely will have to have a portrait style living and dining. But that said, it is a very good length living and dining area. Okay, it's just that, you know, with the kitchen all the way nicely tucked inside, the positioning of the dining table seems to be a little bit awkward. But of course, if you're the kind that like to have your dining table outside in the balcony, then of course it provides you with a really good amount of space over here. It's still a very comfortable space because 1216 square feet is a good size. Okay, kitchen is a good size, naturally ventilated. Okay, and I believe this wall, of course, it's going to be a little bit troublesome, but this wall can be hacked. And now if you hack this wall, why I say troublesome is because you then have to relocate your DB box. Then you can actually access the kitchen from this side, right? And those that are buying for investment, if you open up here, then if you rent out the rooms, room by room, you can access and utilize this WC as one of the toilets lah. Okay, and it's of course easier access to the kitchen. But if you really look at the area wise, the kitchen and the WC and the household shelter, it takes up quite a big chunk of the space in the house. There's one small complaint that I have. Bedroom 2, bedroom 3, regular size. Okay, now coming to the study. The bad thing is that you can't hack the walls for the study, right? This is a PPVC construction. But the good thing is that you can put in a single bed inside here, right? You probably can't have the swing door, but just change the swing door to a foldable, either a foldable door or a sliding door, then you can very comfortably put in a single bed. I've measured the length, works. However, you can't, this one, the length, this layout, the length of the study is shorter because I believe they had to compromise a bit of space over here. So I think you get lesser space in the living, dining, and also lesser space in the study, right? So I will pick this layout over the other layout anytime. And then in the future, once you can put a single bed inside, you can potentially market it, sell it as a 4-bedder. And I'm always a fan of layouts that can do that because you enter at this quantum, but you can sell and fight against units of a higher quantum, higher unit type. Okay, always a fan of this kind of units. The master bedroom, not as nice as the earlier one, as the 3 compact, because you remember over here I was mentioning that you get a much nicer L-shaped wall, But versus this one is more regular. You still get a window over there, which is great. But your wardrobe is then limited in size due to the positioning of the master bedroom door. Other than that, the size is still pretty okay. Good distance over here, good distance over here. The common bedrooms can put in queen size bed. This one king size bed should be fine as well. Okay, coming on to this one, the chunk of it, it's probably the same. I think a little bit of space taken away from the study, probably also from the living and dining, to be thrown into this entrance foyer. So if you don't want that, then you can pick this one lah. So in terms of which one is more premium, I think it's pretty obvious. Stag 9 will be the most premium of which, right? Other than that, I believe they will price 23 to be more premium as well because it's facing the Clementi Forest. But if you're looking for value for money, I wouldn't mind considering Stag 4, especially high floor when you overlook Astor Green, because I think Astor Green is not going to be as high as Pinetree. This facing Stag 16, right? You overlook the Clementi Forest, so they may load the price onto here. So if you are smart about it, right, I would pick of course, looking at you also have to look at the price premium, price differential lah. If 9 inward facing is priced not too much above the rest, then pick 9. If not, if they load 23 and they load 16 very high, 4 may be good value for money. And let's move on to the 4-bedroom with private lift. So the larger units at Pinetree all have private lift from the 4-bedroom onwards, all have private lift already lah. Okay, so we start off first with the 4 Deluxe with private lift. Okay, now first thing that I want to bring your attention to would be the 1292 square feet in size. It's not too far different from 1216. So if you are looking for own stay and you have the budget, I would really recommend you try to stretch it a little bit, right? 80 square feet difference, but you then get a private lift and quite a fair bit more for that price. Okay, so we're gonna have 2 stacks, right, with stack 8 and stack 13 facing the outside. If stack 8 is priced, so now this is also again quite fun and quite tricky at the same time, because 13 again, right, I'm not sure whether they're going to price you a premium to face the Clementi Forest. If they do, please go for stack 8 instead. Okay, but just that stack 8 if you look over, you may see stack 20 lah. So but given a choice, I would probably still pick stack 8 over stack 13. Okay, of course, yeah, depend on the price. Now let's take a look at the floor plan. So over here, right, private lift, once you enter, pretty standard entrance foyer. I like that they have a window over here, not common. Okay, it's quite rare to get a window in your entrance foyer. That's one complaint that I always have with private lifts is because when you step out of a private lift, the foyer tends to be very dark, and end up a lot of people just basically use that to store their shoes, store their tennis rackets, golf clubs, bicycles, and that kind of thing. So it's always very messy. So if you're selling your unit, selling your house and you have a private lift with an entrance foyer, please try to pack it a little bit before you do your viewings and make sure it's bright. Okay, a lot of people just put one small LED light over there, then it becomes very dark, very sian the feeling when you go inside. Okay, so now you have a window, great. Okay, step in as you turn out. My favorite landscape style living dining area. This is a pretty good size. Okay, and so for 4-bedder, 1292 square feet, I think it's going to come in at a really good quantum as compared to its neighbors. Okay, again, this one we'll talk about it later on in terms of the new versus old supply. Then let's start with the kitchen, right? The kitchen, okay, most of the times when there's private lift, a lot of the kitchens tend to be very odd shaped. They wrap around the private lift, then giving you super duper long kitchens, and then L-shaped kitchens and whatnot. So I think they did a pretty good job over here because they tilt it to the left side, right, and they don't wrap around the private lift. This one, they didn't try to wrap around the private lift, so a lot of the space still feels very, very functional, very, very normal. Right, this is a very regular size kitchen, very good, a good amount of countertop space, a decent yard area, not too big, not too small. Right, as with all private lift units, you have a secondary entrance just in case your private lift breaks down, is servicing. You use the common lift to enter. Over here, the household shelter tucked all the way to one side, which is good, okay, so it doesn't affect the whole flow of the house, because imagine you have private lift plus bomb shelter, wow, and if you don't lay it out nicely, it's going to make the house feel very, very odd. Now moving on to the bedrooms, right? Bedroom sizes pretty normal, and so we do have, right, a junior master right? Because this one is an ensuite. You can choose to make it ensuite to bath 2. Okay, the only one complaint is then these 3 bedrooms will have to share one bathroom Over in the master bedroom, this is very similar to the 3 premium plus study master bedroom, basically the same thing. Good that we still have this one window over here, but a bit not so good would be because the bathroom door is on this side. You limit yourself with regards to the size of your wardrobe. But other than that, huge fan of this particular layout, not too much wasted space, and very regular shaped kitchen. Okay, moving on now to the 4-bedroom premium. So now the 4-bedroom premium is quite a fair bit bigger, 1464 square feet versus 1292 square feet for the 4-bedroom deluxe with private lift. Okay, now what does the extra space get you is probably something that you are thinking about, especially if you are getting for own stay. Okay, so if you're going to stay for long, right, then I think not so bad. You can go ahead and get a 1464 square feet. But if you are looking to possibly buy this for investment, maybe the 1292 square feet one is sufficient. Okay, so again, let's start. Private lift, once you come in, so this one stack only got one stack stack 5, and it's inward facing. So if the 4-bedroom deluxe they sell all the way up to the left, the high floor ones you can snap up a low floor 4-bedroom premium with private lift at, you know, maybe the price gap is not that much. Very much recommend that you go for it. Okay, as you step in the entrance foyer, right, good that again, right, we have that window, very, very nice. And as you step out, okay, this is where when most of us went to the show flat, we immediately went like, oh wow, this feels very much like the kitchen over at Avenir. And for Avenir, that price is at least 2 to 3 million more expensive. I believe 2 million more expensive than 2 to 3 million more expensive than what you're gonna expect here. But I like the kitchen style very, very much, okay? Because you can fully open up double panel sliding doors, opening up super grand feel. We have this island in the front and this very, very nice size kitchen. Of course, you know, even if you don't use the kitchen so much, the fact that you absorb the kitchen space within the spatial perspective of the living and dining area, it makes the house feel very, very big. Yeah, very, very big. Like this layout a lot. They've even gone to the detail of trying to make the household shelter a bit more narrow, right? So to save you a bit of space and not have an odd angle jutting out. Again, great. So not much wasted space in terms of the yard area, the household shelter. Very thankful that they didn't wrap it around. So for those of you who will see enough layouts when they wrap it around, very, very bad. So now that they have this, not only is it more regular in shape, it helps to make the space feel bigger. My favorite part, right, about this house. Of course, then as we move into the bedroom sizes will be the same, just that you then have a ensuite toilet, right? Jack and Jill ensuite toilet for bath 3, you have your junior master, again have a ensuite. So you basically get an extra toilet, larger kitchen as compared to the 4-bedroom deluxe. Right. The master is also, of course, quite a fair bit bigger. Now you're going to have your walk-in wardrobe and then your master bathroom over here. So this then feels a lot more grand as compared to the 4 deluxe, that the master bedroom is actually very similar to the 3-bedroom master bedroom lah. Okay, huge fan of this layout. So long-term own stay kind of thing, go for it, right? And again, even though it's 1464, quite a fair bit bigger than the 1292, I believe in terms of quantum-wise, it still falls very much lower than whatever it is available in the resale market. Of course, this one, not much difference as compared to this size, right? It's also, I believe, 1464 square feet, just minor differences here and there. This one is a more squarish household shelter. It's more, the difference, I believe, comes more from the kitchen and the household shelter side lah. And I think, and this one is further out to the right, so I think this is gonna be cheaper than the Stack 5, because Stack 5 is going to be inward pool facing lah. So good value for money. Yeah. Stack 17, if you compare to, let's say, a inward facing, maybe Stack 8 or Stack 13 for the 4-bedroom deluxe. Okay, so keep an eye out for good deals like that. Again, depends on how the developers price it at. And of course, we end off with the 5-bedroom premium. So you're gonna see this at the show flat. So if you go to the show flat, you want to actually buy the 4 premium. You want to have a visualization of what that kitchen looks like. You can just take a look at the show flat. The kitchen is relatively the same. What you get is just a junior master thrown out onto this side. Okay, and interesting thing is they don't have a bomb shelter inside this one, which is good, okay? But of course, much bigger in size already lah, so very different quantum. So again, right, no need to dive into this too much, because this one, if you can afford it, you can afford it. You want to buy it, you're going to buy it anyway, right? Landscape style living and dining, the kitchen, so you have a very big space. The field feels very big. This one, the yard is quite narrow lah, together with the store this way, but also good because it's not too big a space, not too much wasted space over here. Entrance foyer, still you get that window, which is good. Okay, one complaint would be 3-bedroom share 1 toilet lah. So you want to have more toilets, more ensuite style lah, then you get the 4 premium. This one you get more, all the bedrooms get ensuite toilet. But this one don't have, 3 have to share 1. But of course, then the master bedroom is much nicer, much bigger. When you go to the show flat, the one thing that jumped out to me that I like a lot is the squarish feel of the master bedroom. A lot of the times, even with the larger units, the master bedroom toilet tends to be rectangular in shape, very long. So if that's the case, I feel I much prefer a squarish master bedroom. The toilet, much more space just to move around. You don't have to walk so far to the shower and whatnot lah. Freestanding bathtub, very nice. Nice big window over here to bring in a lot of natural light into the master bedroom. So funny thing is, I do like the master bedroom a lot more because of this window, the squarish layout. Yeah, other than that, pretty standard lah. Of course, good that the door is on this side, the walk-in wardrobe on this side, so that again, right, you have plenty of wall space to play around with. If you found this review useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as you'll help out the channel a ton, and also to give me a little bit of motivation to continue putting out content like that. Now, back to the video. Moving on to the 3 things we like and don't quite like about Pinetree Hill, starting first off with the 3 things we like, and on point number 1, the new versus old supply. So like what we mentioned earlier on in the video, what does this whole new versus old supply thing that you keep hearing on our channel, right? So it basically means you are the newer batch of supply into an area that has traditionally had very large sizes, right? For example, 2-bedders at 1,000 square feet, 3-bedders 1,000, 3,400 square feet. And it's the first time that area is going to see supply coming in at your 2-bedder 700 square feet, 3-bedder 900 to 1,000 square feet, right? Newer products, better layouts, better facilities, and everything like that. Okay. And we've been talking about this a lot for the District 15 area. And when I was researching Pinetree Hill, I noticed a very similar characteristics coming up in the Mount Sinai area as well. Now let's take a look. Okay, so the interesting thing about the Mount Sinai area, because there hasn't been any launch in the last 13 years, the supply is very diversified, right? And on opposite extremes. Okay, so you have Pine Grove, Cavendish Park, Astor Green. There are 99 years developments. Pine Grove is so old, right? 39 years old. Cavendish Park 32. Astor Green 28. Yeah. Then we have the freehold counterparts. Of course, Pandan Valley is also very, very old, perhaps one of the oldest ones. But the rest are youngest, with I believe Trizon being the one of the next youngest one at 11 years old. Now let's see how they perform and derive some of the conclusions out of it. Right, I'm going to share with you guys the price performance of the 99-year developments in that area. Okay, so like I mentioned, Pine Grove, our immediate neighbor. So what I want to see, number one, it's the volume of transactions. Now bear in mind, Pine Grove is 39 years old, even older than me. So right, hopefully you all don't think I'm older than that. But anyway, Pine Grove, okay, you want to see the volume of transactions still very, very healthy considering its age, right? When you come to this kind of age, the kind of buyers are very, very limited. Okay, but the question I want to always ask myself is, then why are there still transactions there? Why are buyers buying into that area? Okay, the reason is, number one, they cannot afford the quantums over on the newer products, because given a choice, very naturally people want something newer right? Because you buy a Pine Grove unit, especially you buy an original condition, you're going to have to spend a lot of money to renovate the place, right? So the reason why transactions are still happening over there is because they are still at a quantum that is significantly different from their freehold newer counterparts. Right? That shows me that an area has very strong organic demand. Remember when we were talking about District 15, the reasons why Mandarin Gardens, Neptune Courts, they still do very, very well in the resale market. Next thing you want to look at is the quantums that are being transacted at. Right, we have 3-bedders at 2 mil. Okay, 2-bedders 1.45, 3-bedders 1.85. Right, with 3-bedders nudging close to 2 mil. Note this is not too far away from the kind of entry quantums that we have for a brand new 99-year development. Okay. Let's take a look at its profitability. Okay, we have guys buying 2018, making $300,000. And bear in mind that time when they buy 2018, 5 years back, the development already 31 years old. Conventional wisdom would say there's no way that's going to make money, right? A lot of people always say after 13 to 15 years, 99 years, development start to come down. I would like to debunk that myth. It doesn't happen, especially if you land yourself in an area with strong organic demand. Okay, right. Another example, bought in 2019, still make $218,000. 2017, 3-bedder make $500,000. Right, okay, that's Pine Grove. Moving on to another immediate neighbor, Astor Green. Okay, right across the road. Now, same thing, we want to take a look at quantums, okay? See, notice because their size is quite a fair bit bigger, they've already hit quantums of $2.1 million, $2.05 million. These are kind of data points that you want to see, okay, to prove yourself or to at least assure yourself that there is demand for this kind of quantums in that area, okay? The fact that this has been achieved, and bear in mind that development is so much older, I feel it's a very good indicator. Of course, at the end of the day, will there still be people that want to buy these developments for this kind of size? For sure. But there will always also be a segment of people that want just a nicer and a newer development. Okay, great profits being made as well. 2010 make 695,000. More recent one, let's see if we can find a more recent flip. Yeah, a lot of them. I think the closest one is 2014. So about a 9-year holding period. 2021 lah. So about a 7-year holding period, make 400,000. 3 point something percent, very good lah, considering the age of the development, 99 years. Yeah. Next up, Cavendish Park. Okay. So same thing. Look at the quantum. What you want to pay attention to? It's the quantum. They built slightly smaller size. Yeah, compared to the rest, 1227. So this is very similar to our 3 premium kind of sizing. Okay. So you see profits being made, very, very healthy. Now, if you think this is healthy, wait until you see the freehold ones. Okay. So now once we jump into the freehold ones, you want to see the average kind of sizes of those units. And so to help you understand, right, how come there will be a backflow of demand into Pinetree Hill in the future, right? Because look at the quantums, the average quantums of 3 bedders being sold, Pandan Valley 2.9 million, 5 million because of the size. So even though their PSF, all the PSF in that area is significantly lower than what we have over at Pinetree Hill. So why I came up with this investment thesis is because the fact is that the new PSFs are bound to be higher. And previously, when I was somewhat newer into the market, I allowed that to prevent myself from helping my clients enter into seaside residences. And so right now, I look at the profitability, and that really caused me to have to start from fresh again. Let's number one, understand why profits are being made over there despite them hitting their record PSFs. What was I missing out? Which was why I developed this investment thesis this year, to prevent you from facing making the same mistake that I made earlier on. Okay. Average profit, 3 bedders, Pandan Valley, 1.4 million, 4 bedders, 3 million. Yeah. Richwood, right, the 2-bedroom sizes, 1,200 square feet, the 3-bedroom sizes, 1,300 over square feet. Look at the average profits they have made. This is across the board, extremely spectacular profits. Do also see that the size differentials are very much bigger than whatever we are expecting to see at Pinetree Hill. Now, so in conclusion, the new versus old supply rhetoric, Pinetree Hill is going to be the first mover in that area, very much like Seaside Residences was in District 15. Now, all you need to do is look at the kind of profits that Seaside Residences have made. Of course, no guarantees that you make the same amount, but I feel in terms of the fundamentals, it is very, very similar. On to point number 2 on what we like about Pinetree Hill. It's a good product in a good area. Now, this is basically an extension of what we talked about earlier on in the video. Pinetree Hill ticks 2 of perhaps the most important boxes for a good property purchase, being anchored down by a good primary school and being located in an area with a lot of organic demand, and especially old money. Now, I'm going to talk about a third point right now. Let's take a look at the current supply in the area. So what I've done, I've zoomed in into this, basically the entire Mount Sinai area. I filtered out for 2 bedders. There's only 20 units for sale right now. And you'll notice, I believe quite a number of them has been sold. You see like 3 weeks, 1 week haven't refreshed. And most of them are coming from Astor, Cavendish Park, Pine Grove, which are the 99 years older developments. The closest freehold one and 9991 I have is this, right? Ellsworth Park, Trizon, that is already at 2.33 million. Now, So now, based on what I see, number one, you don't have to be afraid of an oversupply situation coming into that area. Next thing, what that tells me is the area is anchored down by a lot of owner-occupiers because they don't throw their units up into the market. Why? It's because if you are an investor, you will take advantage of this current situation with a new launch coming, finally a new launch coming in to try and capitalize on the market. Now let's take a look at the 3-bedders. So over in the 3-bedders, even more surprising statistic. See if you notice what I notice, alright? So 35 units for sale, Cavendish Park, Astor Green, Pine Grove, as I scroll down, right? You can see the kind of prices that they are listing at. Yeah, 1.9, already almost 2 million already, 30 over years old, close to 40 years old. So is it safe for you to enter, let's say, a 3 compact in that area? I think it's pretty safe. Now, what you notice, what I notice is that there are none of the 3 bedrooms for the freehold developments that are currently for sale. It's all the 99 ones. So now, the buyers moving into the market, right? Visualize yourself 5 years out. If you are a buyer going into the market, you are made with the choice. Do I go? The freehold one maybe at that time got some units for sale, right? If now people want to sell, they will sell now already. But if not, right, I'm pretty sure at any one point in time, maybe there's only 2 to 3 of such units for sale. So would they represent a very strong competition for you? I don't think so, right? Most of your competition would then be from Pine Grove or your 99-year ones. Then you'll be forcing the incoming demand to sort of choose, right? And I believe the incoming demand, they are already ready to accept this kind of new supply. Of course, not 100%, there will still be people that want size, but then they have to make that very, very deliberate call to then go for an older 99 years development. Now, ticking all these boxes, the only thing that it cannot tick really is its distance to the MRT, which is why we've shared with you guys the kind of data that we have. Principal Garden, as long as it's a good product, its distance to the MRT honestly doesn't really matter that much, would not impact its profitability as long as it's a good product. Okay, now next up, and the bonus is of course the fact that this launch is so underrated. It's sort of flying under the radar, being mixed in with 6 different launches. So don't we all like it to sort of outsmart the developers? So hopefully with the 6 other launches being in the market right now, especially with Grand Diamond coming in so close together with Pinetree, the developers are not that aggressive and you can get a unit that's fairly priced without too high a markup by the developers or them increasing price too much on launch day. Now on to the third point on what we like about Pinetree Hill, its first mover advantage. So of course we've talked about this quite a fair bit throughout the video already. Number one, it's going to be the first guy in the area to offer units of this kind of sizes, right? The new versus old supply. Secondly, it's the fact that there's going to be one more plot coming up right beside us, okay? Pine Grove Plot B that may be outside 1 km of Henry Park Primary, maybe, or at least half of it, okay? And most likely that one will come up at a higher PSF, offering you very, very good support. Okay, now as we zoom out, okay, just see how much land there is being factored for, subjected to future planning, all the way up to this old Holland Road, all of which now are currently forested area. All of this is going to offer in new supply moving forward to basically either, if they're HDB, offer you upgraded demand, or new private properties, and then that's going to give you price support to help you pull upwards. Not to forget a new MRT coming up over here, the Maju station, right? Most likely the government thinks 1-2 steps ahead always, so most likely they want to wait for the MRT station to come up before starting to release the plots like that. I wouldn't be surprised if we get maybe an integrated development over here, right? Maybe 5 to 6 years later I can come back and quote this video if it really gets launched during that time. Okay, and we move downwards again, you see over here near Dover MRT, plenty of land still to be developed. So of course we have new HDBs already being planned above Dover MRT. Not quite sure if they are going to be classified under the prime location housing scheme. If they are not, all these are going to offer you upgraded demand, and they're going to be sitting on tons and tons of profit. But even if it's going to be come out as under the prime location housing scheme, we still will be able to attract demand all the way down from the Queenstown, side, Commonwealth side, or even further up from the Clementi side. And on that note, it brings me very nicely onto the three things we don't quite like about Pinetree Hill. And on point number one, with its first mover advantage, it also means that the greenery that you are currently seeing to the north of the site isn't permanent. So please be very, very careful if you are paying a premium for the greenery view, because it may not be permanent. And on to point number two on what we don't quite like about Pinetree Hill, and this is perhaps the most obvious dislike of them all, is its location, its distance from the MRT and the lack of amenities in that area. Now hopefully with the new developments coming up in the vicinity, that will change, but as we have seen based on the data, its location will not impact its profitability. Probably the only thing that you want to think about is if you are looking to buy for your own stay, that this inconvenience is something that you may have to deal with. And now that brings us nicely onto the third point of what we don't like about Pinetree Hill, the uncertainty surrounding rental. Now, this will apply to you especially if you are buying it for investment. So in order to answer this question, let's take a look at the data. So first and foremost, we take a look at the current supply in the area. So this is the current supply of 2-bedders in the Mount Sinai area. Okay, we only have 10 units available. Now what that tells me, alright, so you want to look at, of course, firstly, we want to look at the prices. 4,000 would be the cheapest unit, moving all the way up to quite high, 8,500. Okay, so you got to factor a little bit higher than Astor Green, because Astor Green is quite a fair bit older, right? You will just, for me, I would take a slight discount of Trizon lah, because you are not as big, but at least it's in a more similar age. Okay, 3-bedders. As you can see from here, just 27 units available for rent. Again, that tells me that the area is primarily made up of owner-occupiers, not that much investors over there. A lot of the supply comes from Pine Grove, room rentals. I think a lot of them are maybe the owner hold on to one bedroom and rent the other bedroom out. Right, but if you take a look at the slightly newer guys, Trizon, very, very little supply. As a matter of fact, nothing from Trizon. Most of the Trizon 3-bedders, because their quantums are so big, you don't really see a lot of units come out for rent. Right. Then more importantly, taking a look at what kind of numbers you can utilize to make sort of a prediction on your rental yield. Okay. So I think the fairest gauge, it wouldn't be too fair to take Pine Grove, Cavendish Park, and Astor data for comparison, because they are much older, in terms of the amenities and the facilities. Okay, closest one I think is Trizon, but taking a haircut due to the difference in size. Right, 4,007 for 2-bedder, 7,000 for 3-bedder. Of course, the size being so much different, I think you can budget down maybe 20% for it, or quite simply just utilize the PSF, the dollar per PSF rental, and just times to the size that you're looking to buy at. So I must admit, in Pinetree, the rental yield will not be as good as one that's right beside the MRT. So now as an investor, you then probably have to weigh up, are you in this for a rental yield game, or are you in this for the capital appreciation game, which we have shared plenty of data on how this area may potentially do better for capital appreciation. So in conclusion, the three things we like about Pinetree Hill. Point number one, the new versus old supply. So they're going to be the first condo to offer in the new generation of products with a better layout and a better product in an area where all the supply is either old or very big. Now, that's also going to give you visibility on the kind of quantums that you can expect upon your exit. And on point number two, it's a good product in a good area. So Pinetree Hill ticks two of the most important boxes of what makes for a good property purchase, it being anchored down by a good school and also in an area with strong organic demand with lots of old money. We've also seen how a good product, a nice product, very much like Principal Garden, can help you overcome the inconvenience of the area and also its distance from the MRT and still offer you good returns. And point number 3 is first mover advantage. Now we see a lot of potential plots coming up around that area. We're also going to see new MRTs coming up. So now all of that is just going to either push up the prices or bring in a lot more HDB upgraders into the area, offering us ready buyers. Now the plus point is that even though with all this supply, not many of them can be within 1 km of Henry Park Primary. And that brings us nicely onto the 3 things we don't quite like about Pinetree Hill. And point number 1 would be the fact that the greenery view to the north of the site that they're trying very hard to sell you will not be permanently there. So with that, please pay attention to the kind of premiums that you are paying for the north-facing units. Moving on to point number 2 is the inconvenience of the location. Now, that's a fact that you have to deal with when you buy into rich man areas because everybody drives there. Okay, and with that, with its location and its distance to the MRT, brings us to point number 3, the uncertainty over rentals. So we would expect Pinetree Hill to have comparably lower rental yield as compared to a development that is, let's say, right next to the MRT. So with that, you need to be very certain about why are you buying this particular property for. Is it for rental yield or is it for capital appreciation? If you are unsure about that, please reach out to us so we can help you out. Or if you just want to take a look at some of our collaterals or the research that we have done, just drop a number to this text and we'll send it over to you. And lastly, if our systematic, data-driven approach to a property purchase resonates with you, feel free to reach out to us so that we can help you out with that as well. Till next time, bye-bye.